Okay, so today's episode is going to be a completely different one. I, to the side of me, have got a fair selection of a selection of the supplements that I take on basically a daily basis. And having put it here on the side of me, it's quite astounding how many things there are. But basically all we're going to do today is go through the supplementation that I have built up over time and I've put in place and the reasons behind why I take these things. My name's Andy Naylor. I am CEO and founder of Naylor Body Design and host of the Optimal Alpha podcast. And welcome back to the show. It's going to be a super cool, interesting show. We are just going to run through all of the supplements I take. Now, if you're listening to on the podcast, you won't obviously get to see them. If you want to see this episode and actually see the products and what I'm going to go through and the reasons why I use them and take them, then of course go to the YouTube channel. All of these podcasts are recorded on video as well, and you can see me going through them on the YouTube channel. So, right, let me try and start with So let's start with what I take last thing at night, because that sets up the morning, I suppose. Let me try and get these things somewhere ready. So the last thing at night stuff, that. Because I always think how I set up the evening is then how the morning starts. Now, the evening for me, a couple of things are going on. One, I want to make sure I sleep well, but I actually also do some interesting gut health things through the night. So first of all, in the evening, I'm taking a couple of things to help me sleep. So first of all, PM priming and sleep stack. So these are just two really good supplements that stack together particularly well from Supplement Needs. And I put this in a drink, just in some water, probably about easily a good litre of water, and it's like the last liquid I drink before I go to bed. The PM priming I've got, I think it's pineapple juice I've got. These things work particularly well just to start to put in place the neurotransmitters and the change that you need to go through from sort of like calming down from the day, because I work right up to the end of the day, to then being able to get into sleep mode. So those things. Also in that drink, I put curcumin. Curcumin is one also anti-inflammatory, but it seems to have an effect on what we would call sleep pressure, like that feeling of needing to fall asleep. So those all go into that drink. Now, while I'm drinking that drink, I'm also taking a whole bunch of other things. Now, on the gut health side of things, I struggle with my gut. I struggle with digestion. I've had IBS for probably 8 years. It's very much under control now. There have been periods when it definitely hasn't been under control. But for now, at the moment, it definitely seems to be. But some of the things I do. So when you think about gut health, you've got to kill off bad stuff and promote good stuff, essentially. I've certainly been through what we could say is longer term protocols, like of months of, like a month or so of killing bad stuff and then a month of putting in good stuff. And it definitely works. But now I do it sort of around a day. So I take black seed oil, okay, which is great antimicrobial, and also Acilian Max, which is odorless garlic. These two things are particularly good at killing off nasties in your gut. So I take one black seed oil and a couple of Acilian Max. I don't take much more because when you start to kill off bad things in your tummy, you can get the sensation of what's called die off or kill off. Like it's you don't feel great because your tummy's like you're killing stuff off here. So I don't take enough to get to that point, but I take it. I also then take activated charcoal, because what that tends to do is grab onto these things and help pull them out. So that's me sort of starting off in the evening. One, this idea of being able to really help pull myself down into sleep mode. Also, at the same time, I'm wearing blue blocking glasses, which I've not got on at the moment, but I tend to wear those because what we're seeing optically has a massive impact on our ability to go to sleep. Different subject. But so therefore, we've got two things going on at once. One, me trying to really bring my system down and get me ready for sleep. And then two, at the same time, while I'm sleeping, killing off nasties. Now, the one thing I haven't got to show you, which is then what I do in the morning, I then have, one of the supplements I haven't got here. But in the morning, I get up, the first thing... Also, sorry, with that drink at night, I'm also taking Again, all of these from Supplement Needs. Astrag Flow, which is a kidney health supplement. CV Stack, which is a cardiovascular health supplement. And Liver Stack, liver health supplement. So that's quite a lot of capsules that I take at the end of the day. But as you'll find with pretty much most of this, a lot of it is around just my body's ability to perform at a high level. If I can make my body perform at a high level, it will just do what I want it to do. So those all go in. Right, so it's now the morning. I get up and I do cardio at the moment. So I do 50 minutes on a bike. So again, I get myself 1.5 litres of water. And in that goes AM priming, okay, which is now a lot of adaptogenic type stuff to really sort of get my mind and everything in the right place first thing in the morning. So AM priming. Along with that, and I take this a lot through the day, electrolytes. So an electrolyte balance of all the different electrolytes. I will probably have maybe 3 or 4 scoops of that a day, but I have 1 serving straight away in the morning with the AM priming, and I drink that while I'm doing my morning cardio. Also in that drink would be liquid glutathione, which is sort of our master detoxing part of our kidneys. So I take that in the morning. Is there anything else at that point? Also D3. I live in the UK. We don't get much sun, especially at this time of year. So I'll always take I think it's a high strength D3. Particularly like this brand as well. So obviously you can tell I obviously love Supplement Needs. I use Supplement Needs for 80% of my supplements, basically. Nutri-Advance is also a particularly good brand that I like. Very high quality. So I take some D3 in the morning. Now, I've finished my cardio. The next thing I do is I sit down and make myself a coffee. And the coffee that I make is very much learned from Ben Pakulski. And I think he calls it his intelligence coffee, something along the lines. And I'm like, cool, I'm giving that a go. So I have a bean to cup espresso machine and I make myself a double espresso. And in that double espresso, I put lion's mane. I am a massive fan of high quality mushrooms. There are so many. I use them like cordyceps, chaga, turkey tail, lion's mane. There's another one that slipped my mind at the moment, but lion's mane particularly good for brain health. So some of that, and again, this Indigo Nutrition is I've personally found a great brand for mushrooms. The thing about mushrooms are mostly the quality is awful, and it's not reported well on the product how much of the actual active compound is inside what you're buying. So if you're going to use mushrooms, I think that the benefits of them are massive. And obviously, I'm not sitting here talking about psychedelic mushrooms, although they have a massive benefit as well. But we're talking about ones that can just promote health. Reishi mushroom is another really good one that I can see sitting over on a counter. So I would take reishi mushroom at the first signs of a cold, and it just seems to kill a cold off. Again, but I buy high quality reishi mushroom that comes in a glass jar. So I don't mess about when it comes to buying things like this. You either waste your money and buy something cheap, or you at least buy something good. So in that coffee will go lion's mane. Also in that coffee will go, so Bubs, I only really buy 2 products from Bubs, high quality collagen and MCT powder. So I do 2 scoops of the high quality collagen and 1 of the MCT powder, and it makes these 3 things. So the lion's mane, the MCT, and the collagen make for a very, very clever and also alpha GPC. So we're just talking brain food. So obviously the collagen is great. Like as we age, collagen becomes more and more and more important for us. We need it more and more for so many different things. So I just shove it in a coffee and drink it. I don't even know it's there. Great for gut health, great for bone health, ligament health. Like it's just something that we need. The MCT powder, again, great for brain health. Our brain is able to look at medium chain triglycerides and see them very much like glucose to a degree and use them as quite instant fuel. And it just kind of seems to make it's like what you'd call a creamer in a coffee. It just seems to make the coffee really nice. It's a really enjoyable coffee. But hey, look at the goodness I've just put in myself. So that is literally how I start my morning. I've got up, I've used some adaptogens, some electrolytes. The one thing I haven't mentioned is I would have also put in that drink a very high quality probiotic, and I use I think it's called VSL3, something like that. So white and blue box, very high, something like 50 million strain or something like that probiotic. not cheap, needs to be kept in a fridge. I don't have any at the moment. I've run out, so I have been inconsistent, as per my previous episode. I've been inconsistent. I need to go and get some. So I've started my day off with a barrage of hopefully smart and clever moves to put myself and my body in a position to go and attack the day. So now we move on to, so that's AM priming. We've done that. So now we move on to just a couple of other little bits and pieces. So probably now I'm probably getting, here's something else that for every meal. So again, arcing back to the gut health side of things, because as I've said to you, I struggle with my gut health. So in the evening, I look to try and kill stuff off through the night, and then I look to replenish in the morning with BSL. What I also take is betaine HCl, high quality betaine HCl. Now, here's an interesting fact for you. So certainly as we age, it seems to be more common that we get acid indigestion, and people take acid indigestion as too much acid, too much. So I'll take an antacid to kill it. It's actually more often than not the other way around. For some reason, I get acid indigestion, and I know that it's because I have a lacking amount of acid in my stomach. And I know this because I know that when it first started to happen to me at a time is when I was getting ready for a show. So I was getting ready for a show. I was carbing up, and I was having to eat 1,000 grams of carbs for 3 days straight, which you might think sounds amazing. It's fucking miserable, I can tell you. But what was happening was I just couldn't digest it. And then I was starting to get heartburn. Well, that's not too much acid, is it? That's a lack of acid because it's not digesting the food. So I basically drank over the course of a day a bottle of Gaviscon, and well, things went from bad to a lot worse very quickly. So I obviously researched into this, looked into it, and realised that for many people, actually heartburn and indigestion is a sign of poor acid production in the tummy. So betaine HCl actually promotes stomach acid. So I take 3 of these. I think it's recommended you take 1 to 2, but personally I take 3 about 20 minutes before I eat. And then my tummy is telling me, it's like give me food. Like it literally, I'm not going to say it brings on the sensation of hunger through things like ghrelin, but it's certainly, I'm like, I want to put something in my tummy. So like if I was in a phase of trying to add muscle and obviously eating more food than I particularly want to be eating, then certainly betaine HCl can really help. But again, it's just another thing to aid my tummy and my ability to digest food. Right, now we're getting to a point where we're like, okay, we're probably going to go and train. Okay, so in my pre-training drink, again from Supplement Needs, because I absolutely love them, 2 things: pre-focus, so like a pre-workout, a kind of standard pre-workout with also some nootropics in there, and then pre-pump. Okay, I stack these 2 things together. You can then, like, if you didn't want a stimulant, you just take pre-pump. There's no stimulant in here, so you could just take this, get a great pump. I think there's also some nootropics in here to sort of like pick up sort of like brain activity, the ability to, connect to a muscle. I would also, if it's not already in here, I can't remember if it is, I would also then take additional alpha GPC. Okay, so this stack here, so pre-focus, pre-pump, and alpha GPC is a really exceptional way to prime your body and get it ready for what is going to be probably should be a very intense workout. Now, while I'm training, so this is probably where I differ from a lot of people. I don't use EAAs while I train, mostly because they just give me tummy upset. If I'm honest, I probably, as given that I'm dieting right now, I could probably do with the EAAs, so I probably need to start taking them again, but they just kind of narc my stomach off. So at the moment, what do I take? So inside that will be creatine, it's about 7 to 10 grams of creatine, and I take that every single day against Supplement Needs. And then also in there will be, again, electrolytes. So this is I've now had 2 scoops of electrolytes probably in the first half of the day, and then I'd have just another scoop at some point later in the day, possibly in that end of day drink. Okay, so now I've set myself up for training, and I have now put my body in a position and readied it for training, and now I'm taking care of it while I'm training. Okay, then just a couple of other bits and pieces just to run through, otherwise I could have been here all day doing this. So of course I'm going to use things like whey protein. This is the one that I put in my oats. So this is what is this? JP Whey caramel fudge. So really I only use whey protein at the moment in my first meal of the day, which is oats. So I stove cook oats. I mix in a whey protein and then I put dark chocolate on top of it and sometimes blueberries. That is my first meal of the day. It's my favorite meal of the day. I have been using a an isolated protein powder called, well, I forget what it's called, but its flavor was vanilla French toast, something like that. Literally amazing. At the moment, I've run out of that, so I'm just finishing off this tub of JP Whey. I think a whey isolate is really, really helpful. I would also always personally go for an isolate. It's easily digested, and the percentage of protein per 100 grams is higher. In other words, there's less shit in it. It's just a cleaner protein. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much standard. I don't really drink any protein shakes. I would prefer, given that I'm dieting, I'd prefer eat my food, but that protein goes in the oats particularly well. A couple of other just bits and bobs. Again, supplement needs. They have Omega Pro. So this is an Omega 3. We as humans do not get enough healthy fats, I don't think. And given if you can get your hands on a good Omega 3, and these are sort of like little chewables, I think it's pretty much a given that we should take it. Along with, actually, I nearly forgot, something like magnesium. Again, so here is the Nutri-Advance company, and I take magnesium glycinate. Again, so these couple of things here, so a good quality omega-3 and magnesium glycinate, do very different things to a degree, but they're things that we kind of need because I don't think we get enough real, true, healthy fats in our food, and we are basically all deficient in magnesium, pretty much. And the amount of bodily functions that magnesium plays a role in is probably in the thousands. Personally, I take magnesium after training to start to calm down my nervous system, to try and allow me to function for the rest of the day. And then also I would take it pre-bed. Again, in that drink that I would take pre-bed, again, all with the idea of now bringing my body. So after training, I want to bring myself out of sympathetic tone and into parasympathetic tone as quickly as possible. Magnesium is great for that. L-theanine could be good for that. And a bunch of other adaptogens could be helpful. You don't want an anti-inflammatory at that point, right? So you wouldn't want to take an omega-3 or something like that. But some of these other things that just calm the nervous system down, massive benefit. So I would take the magnesium glycinate after training before bed, and the Omega Pro, so the little sort of omega-3s, I would take pre-bed. Also pre-bed, and the last couple of things I've got would be a green tea extract. So great for antioxidizing the body. You've got to imagine your body is like cells are dying off in your body all of the time. And they leave, I don't want to say like they leave debris around, but they need clearing out. So antioxidizing and using antioxidants would be very, very, very smart. I drink quite a lot of green tea, but also, supplementing that with, this is Life Extension, which is, again, a really good brand. I think Life Extension is a great brand. Solgar, which I'm about to show you one, is a great brand. Nutri-Advance, and then supplement needs are the majority of the things that I take. So green tea extract, particularly good. And then a vitamin B complex, which is just immune system support, health support. You've got to remember, I work, I get up at about 4:30, 5 o'clock every day. I immediately do 50 minutes of cardio. I do 2 hours of work. I go to the gym and train. I do 30 minutes more cardio. I come home, I shower, I eat, I work, then till about 8 o'clock at night. Now, I'm not telling that to impress you in any way at all, but impress upon you that my days are pretty full and my training is savage as I can make. So in other words, I just know that I'm putting my body under stress, pressure. Like I know that. And I'm not getting younger. I'm 43. So my body's ability to just bat that stress off gets more and more challenging. So I have to be smarter. One, with how I train and what I do and where am I spending my energy. But then also, okay, what things can I do just to support my body, the systems, the immune system, mental function, physical function, everything? What can I do to just bolster that, to allow me just to keep going that little bit longer and stay healthier and fitter? Certainly as we come into winter, I think, just keeping a little eye on some of these bases can be really smart. There you go. So that's just a little rundown. These are like the main ones. I think basically I take these every day. There are things that come in and out as needed. So things like, again, for gut health, peppermint capsules. So I use a peppermint capsule called Colpamin, which is in a really solid capsule. In other words, it gets right down into your gut before the capsule lets the peppermint out. So one, you don't get weird peppermint burps, and two, the mint, the sort of the inflammatory and calming side of the mint is actually working in the place it's supposed to work in. But yeah, basically that's, I would say, generally a good sort of rundown of the vast majority of things. There are other things, I guess, but nothing as important as the stuff that I've shown you here. Now, is any of this stuff critical? Not really. Could I stop taking all of it? Yeah, absolutely. Would I notice it? Yeah, probably. The other thing here is there's quite a lot of things that I've gone through. It didn't start here. It started with one or two things, and then, oh, this is useful, and then actually I can't digest well, so maybe so it just, everything layered on top of each itself. So this selection of stuff that I've got here seems very normal to me. It doesn't seem like, a whole load of supplements. Like, it's built up over time. I'm like, okay, there's a problem. Can I fix this a certain way? Yes, I can. Would it help if I put a supplement in? Maybe. Let's go research it. Let's go jump into PubMed, for example, and go and find out. Here's a supplement. Does it work? Okay, well, it sounds like it does. I mean, some things like a magnesium glycinate is pretty much globally, respected to work, just like creatine. Some things are pretty much if you're going to put your body under stress and, in a difficult position in terms of training, dieting, rest and recovery, you're going to need to take some smart steps to help you recover. So there we go. Different one today. I hope that's been useful. It'd probably be more useful if you hop over to the YouTube channel and watch it. But outside that, I still hope it's been of some benefit. If you need help and support in supplementation, whether you should or shouldn't be taking something, reach out to us in the socials. We can help. If, as always, you've found this episode useful, give us a 5-star review. Let us know. Download it. Subscribe to the podcast. I would appreciate you massively. But my alphas, for now, I'll see you next week.